Good morning. Your Excellency Ambassador, senior officials from the President and government offices, dear guests, honorable representatives of the business entities and organizations, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad to welcome you today here in Vilnius, live. And it was a big challenge to organize this business forum, taking in mind all the restrictions what we were facing for our social lives recently. So I'm very glad to welcome you all here, gathering together. And my name is Daina Kleponė. I'm Managing Director of Enterprise Lithuania, and I'm very glad to be a moderator of this business forum today. And now, for the opening remarks, welcome speech, I would like to invite Mr. Simonas Krėpšta, a Chief Advisor for the President of Lithuania. Mr. Krėpšta, please.
Dear distinguished participants of Lithuanian and French Business Forum, it is my great pleasure, on behalf of the President of the Republic of Lithuania, Mr. Gitanas Nausėda, to welcome you here live in Vilnius in this truly historic event. As you are well aware, President Macrono and President Nausėda will meet later today, and of course they will discuss business issue during their meeting. France is one of the major economies in Europe, yet it is only number 11 in terms of Lithuanian-French business turnover. I suppose there is a lot of room to improve this situation, and that could benefit both countries. Extraordinary things have happened over the last 8 months. Tragically, global pandemic has cost already 1 million lives. In addition, we have witnessed economic and social lockdown never seen since the Second World War, followed by severe economic contraction and social challenges. At the same time, European Union and individual countries responded in the unprecedented way. His Excellency Macron and Gitanas Nausėda, together with other EU leaders, agreed on unprecedented EU response back in July in the sum of 750 billion euros. This funding is intended to go to long-term growth-creating investments. We have all the possibility to create next-generation European Union with more integrated markets, with better skills of our workforce, more globally competitive industries, and high focus on green transition. The economic crisis induced by the pandemic has brought to surface several fragilities of our current economic model. Long and complex international value chains has proved to be very risky, and this risk was severely undervalued just 8 months ago. Today, many companies are taking strategic decisions to lower this risk and to reallocate and shorten value chains and get back some of the strategic investments back to Europe. The development of business links between France and Lithuania could surely bring mutual benefits for both countries. As you will hopefully witness over these days in Vilnius, we have many things to offer in terms of business ecosystem, our high-profile workforce, and most importantly, our business mentality to cope with any challenges in a positive way. Dear participants of this business forum, I wish you all a very productive and safe event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krėpšta. And we are getting used to these extraordinary circumstances. We are getting used to the changes, last-minute changes to our agendas. And nevertheless, today, we will have also online welcome greetings from the Mr. Cédric O, a Secretary of State for the Digital Sector of France. Please show the video.
French and Lithuanian entrepreneurs. I'm very happy to be with you today and to have the opportunity to take the floor in that important day for our bilateral relationship, with a few days to come when the President Macron will come. There are a few points that I want to tackle with you today. The first one is that we have been experiencing the same crisis. I know that Lithuania is recovering very fast, that the Lithuanian economy is one of the most resilient in Europe. And in France, we are investing with a huge stimulus package of 100 billion euro to be able to overcome the crisis and to build the France of the next 10 years to come. And we share the same challenges, meaning that we are facing two huge transformations, which is on the one hand the environmental transformation, and on the second hand the digitalization of our economy, of our society, even of our day-to-day relationship. France and Lithuania are investing a lot to face the environmental transformation and to be able to adapt their economy, to adapt their society to a world that needs to be more green. Second issue is the digitalization of our economy. What we have lived in the confinement period is to some extent an acceleration of some underlying trends that we were facing beforehand. But those trends are huge and we have to face them. The digitalization of the state, the digitalization of the economy is something that we have to adapt to. We have to adapt our economy, we have to help our entrepreneurs adapt to that situation, we have to help our citizens to adapt to that situation. That is why in France we are investing so much, 7 billion euros in the 2 years to come, in order to be able to invest in our startup, to invest in the digitalization of our state and of our SMEs, but also to be able to cope with the huge transformation that we are facing, because we have to adapt and we have to help our citizens adapt. We have to be able to be at the table of the people that are mastering new and critical key technologies, and I know that this is something that Lithuania is relaying the emphasis on, especially in terms of cybersecurity. We have to be able to ensure our citizens that in a fully digitalized world, they are on board. This is why also we are investing, this is true about Europe, but this is especially true about France, in the digitalization of our SMEs, but also in connecting all the people, implementing fiber on the ground, being able to connect the whole French territory. And I know that this digitalization transformation, digital transformation, is something that we are facing both in France and Lithuania. And I think if we want to be at the right level of commitment, at the right level of the challenge that we are facing, we need to develop our bilateral cooperation. We need to develop the bilateral business relationship between France and Lithuania, between France and all Europe, and between Lithuania and all Europe. This is only if we are together, if we come together, that we will be able, at the right level of the challenge that we are facing. So I'm very happy to have the opportunity to take that floor and to convey this message to you today. I hope you will spend a great day, and I'm looking forward to future bilateral cooperation.
An inspiring speech by Mr. Cedric O. And yes, the business forums are a good place to make friendships, and friendships are very important for the long-term and sustainable business relationships. Lithuania and France have, business communities of Lithuania and France has a lot what to share in the areas and topics which are very hot now. And this is first of all the digital transformation, as it was mentioned in the speech, sustainability, and also both countries have a very strong engineering sector. So I would like to invite now our panelists for our high-level engineering sector discussion. And first of all, I would like to invite a moderator for this panel, Mr. Simonas Janulevičius, President of Lithuanian Engineering Industry Association of Lithuania, Lemblé. Mr. Tomas, please get on stage. And now I would like to invite a French companies to come over to the stage. Ms. Audrey Laure Bergental, CEO of Euveka company. Ms. Estelle Deroche, Director of Dismantling Program, EDF. and Mr. Peter Hedberg, a country director for Sigfox. As well, the companies representing Lithuanian side, Mr. Kęstutis Jasiūnas, a general director of Expla. Oh, please, you can use this. Mr. Virginijus Brunza, Innovation and Development Manager from Freda, and Mr. Julius Švagždys, Chief Corporate Marketing, HR Relations and Benefit Management Department of Teltonika. And, mea culpa, I am very sorry, Mr. Vidmantas. I was so excited that I missed your welcome speech. So it's completely my fault. Would you like to give it now? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, dear colleagues, of course, it's a lot of changes today, during this morning time. I will try to be as fast as possible. And dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, bonjour. It's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all at this Lithuanian-French Business Forum. Special welcome to our French friends who arrived to Lithuania during this difficult time. And despite all these unfortunate circumstances, I wish you a pleasant stay in Vilnius. Thanks to the visit of the President of the Republic of France to Lithuania, that business meeting has become possible. Thank you very much. Today, we, business people of Lithuania and France, have got opportunity to meet, get to know each other and discuss issues of cooperation. This discussion is aimed at gathering the most disruptive and innovative entrepreneurs from France and Lithuania in order to share and exchange views on making the EU to lead global economy. The roundtable comparisons that trends that political leaders should be following closely and focuses areas for the policymakers, the regulatory environment, as well as the skill set needed. I'm very pleased that our partner MEDEF are participating in the discussion of topical issues today. The Lithuanian Confederation of Industrialists has a long-standing relationship with our counterpart in France, MEDEF. Over the years, we have had exchanges with delegations and participated in various joint projects. By the way, together with MEDEF, we are in one family of the European Confederation, Business Europe, and nicely cooperate on European issues. I would like to briefly introduce the Lithuanian Confederation of Industrialists. Shortly, we have a lot of people there today from them. The Lithuanian Confederation of Industrialists is an organization that unites 51 branches and 5 regional associations, which comprise over 3,000 medium and large sizes enterprises from private business and public sector. Those are mostly manufacturing enterprises, but also service providing ones, such as transport, logistics, seaport, stevedoring companies, as well as banks, research institutes, education institutions, and hospitality industries. LPK is the frontline organization that seeks to improve the business environment in the country, promote industry as a backbone of the economy, promote digitalization, green economy, and defend values of the EU single market, as well as promote exports and fair international trade. In Lithuania, we call our industry as economic steam locomotive. Industry accounts for more than 20% of Lithuanian GDP. This solid industrial base helped Lithuania to avoid detrimental effects of the economic crisis more than 10 years ago, and of the current health and economic crisis as well. Industry allowed the Lithuanian economy to get back on track much more quicker during these difficulties. About 80% of Lithuanian manufacturing industries production is exported. The major industrial sectors are, which I represent today here. I hope finally you will reach your contacts during our B2B session. It's a chemical industry, food processing industry, the Lithuanian engineering industry, the furniture production sector, Lithuanian's textile and clothing industry, Lithuania has a deep footprint in the European Union with own solar energy industry. I strongly believe that soon Lithuania will become a leader in smart and renewable energy. At the same time, we have electronic and laser industry. I see a few colleagues here represented today, the ICT. And by the way, Lithuania is positioning itself as a primary fintech hub in the European Union. Like the rest of the world, Lithuanian industry and economy has been affected by COVID-19 pandemic. In the worst position have appeared small and medium-sized enterprises providing services. At the beginning of the year, around 40% of industrial enterprises also reduced their production or even stopped it as the value chains began to disrupt. On the positive side, after this shock, Europe has woken up to how to shorten the supply chains, not just to cut the costs, but to have goods delivered as quickly as possible. And this is our chance now inside the European Union. Recent economic indicators show that so far the country withstood the pandemic much better than expected. Today, the most optimistic predictions say that Lithuanian economy may shrink only by 1.2% by the end of the year. Currently, most businesses are recovering and uncertainty remains. The challenge ahead is the second wave of the coronavirus, which is increasingly threatening Europe, including, of course, Lithuania. Despite the difficulties related to pandemic, companies have not only challenges ahead, but opportunities as well to think and implement the digital and green transformation. And it would be very wrong to assume that the Green Deal is just a burden on businesses. At the same time, we understand that setting high European and national emission reduction targets must take into account the ability of certain energy incentive industries to achieve them. For example, fertilizers, cement producers. Also, we understand that emission reduction targets must be pursued by countries around the world. Unfortunately, they do not have such ambitions today. Therefore, it is vital that European industry continues to be protected from unfair international competition, and thanks for this to support the industry from French side. In the context of future fundamental economic transformations, I believe that economic trade and investment cooperation between Lithuania and France may play a very important role. France for Lithuania is not just a priority market, but also a very promising partner. So far in 2019, France was the 13th largest export market for Lithuanian products. In 2019, France was the 9th largest supplier of Lithuanian imports. France was the 3rd largest export market for Lithuanian services, while France was the 14th largest supplier of service imports. The French invest mainly in wholesale and retail trade, logistics, manufacturing, professional, scientific, technical activities. Meanwhile, Lithuanians are investing mainly in wholesale and retail trade. Despite the fact that volumes of trade between our countries differ significantly, the trade capacity of France opens great potential for our country. But the potential is much, much bigger. In the World Bank Doing Business by 2020, that's mean this year, survey assessing business conditions, Lithuania stands in the first place of 190 countries of the world. Therefore, France, with its tremendous economic, scientific and technical potential, has an excellent opportunity to exploit Lithuania's geographical, infrastructural, energy, human capital, professional preparednesses and scientific readinesses for future cooperation. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a very successful business forum today and very fruitful business meetings these days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Janulevičius. And now I'm asking you, Mr. Jaskelevičius, to start a panel discussion. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So as Daina has introduced, I am Tomas Jaskelevičius, and I am the president of Lithuanian Engineering Industry Association. Just to understand what is Lithuanian engineering industry, that is approximately 4.5 billion euros turnover. and approximately 50,000 employees. That's generally significantly differs from the figures in France, but when we get into the percentage of the industry share, we get it in the pretty the same. What was already discussed, that the trade between Lithuania and France is approximately 1.8 billion euros per year. And the structure of this trade is that approximately 30% is the engineering industry, and the next 30% consists of perfumes, alcohol, and pharmacy. So we can say that engineering industry plays a huge role in the country's trade portfolio. But when we get into the deeper side, is that the engineering industry, the trade between the France and Lithuania, it's approximately 500 million euros. And out of that is that 100 million is the export from Lithuania and 400 million is the import to Lithuania. So that's from my perspective as representative of Lithuanian engineering industry, is that we have a huge potential to increase our cooperation, because the export from Lithuania to France, it gets just 3% of the total export of Lithuanian engineering industry. So we can say that the engineering industry in France is a huge market for us, but we are not doing our work well enough up to now. But we have a very nice figures for the last 10 years. The trade between France and Lithuania has increased double over the last 10 years. And Lithuanian export has tripled over the last 10 years. So the curve is pretty nice, and I strongly believe that in the next 5 years, we can even get the better figures. Also, we have the panelists from the French side and from Lithuanian side, and the panelists are coming from the very different industries. But all of them are connected via the engineering. So my idea was to get a really diversified opinion what we're doing today in the trade of Lithuania and France, and what we can do it to the future. So at the very beginning, I would like to ask the participants to introduce what they are representing, what companies are representing, and so please, I would pass a word to you.
Thank you. So I'm Audrey. I'm the president of the company UVK. We're based in south of Lyon. We have created the first biomimetic robot. It's a shape-shifting robot connected to a 3D software with a data management system, enabling our system to change instantly in real size and shape. It helps the fashion industry to create, produce and sell garments at the exact size, and to reduce the number of prototypes and unsold. We know that the textile industry is the second most polluting industry in the world, and we know that now there's an emergency to act, and our solution in production and in sale helps brands and suppliers to get a better impact on the ecology. We have also a defense application, and we can help making uniform fit better, which is very important for unity forces to feel at their best when it comes to defending our countries and our priorities. We are now expanding to the US and to China, and we are very happy to be here today for the defense topic, but also for the sustainability topic, and we are also looking for suppliers to industrialize our solution. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As announced, I am Estelle Desroches, and I am pleased to represent one of the biggest French company in the energy sector, which is EDF. I joined EDF in 1998, and after several jobs in engineering department and fuel nuclear division, I currently in charge of dismantling nuclear reactor dismantling, and especially graphite reactor dismantling. In France, we have under dismantling 6 French graphite reactors, stopped in the 90s. A design which is very close to Ignalia RBMK reactors. As you certainly know, EDF is an international integrated company with a very large scope of activities from new build, nuclear and renewable energy new build, production of energy, of course, electricity distribution and transport, and services around energy. On all these activities, we have a lot of engineering activities and a lot of innovation under development. Our ambition is to propose low carbon, innovative and sustainable solution. And in the field of production, that I better know, our main issue is to be able to show that we are able to close the life cycle of our power plant, to show that we are able to dismantle the old nuclear plant and to find solution to manage the waste we generate. And it's, I think, a subject with a common interest for Lithuania and France, and a convergent planning. If we compare the planning of Ignalina and, for example, Chinon graphite reactor. It's also a field in which we can have a lot of innovation and engineering studies to develop competitive and innovative solution, and that's why I'm here to speak about the partnership we can imagine around this subject. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Peter Hedberg. I'm representing Sigfox. We are considered a little bit of as the new kid on the block as regards wireless communication. The whole company, the basis, the foundation is actually some really old fundamental technology that was developed during the First World War, where there was a need to be able to communicate over long distances with submarines. So some pretty smart guys in France, I'm not French, but I work for this French company, they tweaked this system, started 10, 12 years ago, to enable communication with things. So we're in the Internet of Things business. And the unique thing about us is that you don't have to have big batteries or power outlets or whatever to get energy enough to send these messages. So what we offer is basically an alternative to normal, let's say, what we're used to when we're using our cell phones and so on, where we're using the teleoperators and so on to transmit messages. We have our own system. We are present in 70 countries, and we have networks rolled out both here and in the other Baltic countries. My partners down there from Zero G Baltics that are working with those networks. And the cool thing here with what we're doing is that companies that traditionally may not be so, let's say, technically savvy on wireless communication and so on, maybe you're having some solutions that are not connected, but you could quite easily get some small data points using our system. And with those data points, you can take some active decisions that will save money, save environment, etc. So we're present in 70 countries now, and it's actually an excellent opportunity for companies that are in electronics, that are in logistics, in agriculture, smart cities, etc. There are numerous applications to jump aboard and actually get access to quite a nice, let's say, global market. Of course, we're French and we're very strong in France, so if there are companies here that are producing various types of electronics and things like that, and want to have, let's say, easy access or at least a new door into the French market, for instance, should have a look at what we're doing, and you could probably find some nice openings there. We'll be here all day. Happy to see.
Okay, thank you. So I would ask now to present themselves the Lithuanian companies. I suppose the Lithuanian part, they know these companies, but for the French, that would be most interesting. So please.
Hello, everyone. I am representing company Expla. My name is Kęstutis Jasiūnas. Company Expla is laser producers. Laser field is very wide, and we took the quite interesting niche. We're supplying to market laser beam with light beam with ultra short pulses, with high intensity pulses. It's mostly is scientific application, but this application is coming to OEM market, to the production market. Our roots is 90s, early 90s, when a few scientists from Institute of Physics decided to commercialize their knowledge in this field. Very beginning for us was not easy. Nobody in closest market, nobody trusts to unknown small new country, Lithuania, from Eastern Europe. And our success was with Japanese. In 90s, we have sold about 80% of our sales was to Japan. And later, having a good references in Japan, we started to enter to other markets like French, Germany, United States, and as well. Now, all around the world, we have a lot of lasers. In most of French universities, you can find Expla sign. Our lasers is working not only in scientific laboratories, our lasers is working in flat panel, solar panel, LED production factories, as well as in medical device developers laboratories. As example of our capabilities, let's say, I will give you example about one project. It is European project, European initiative of extreme light infrastructure, which was initiated by a great French scientist, Nobel Prize laureate, Professor Gérard Moreau. And during this project, in 3 pillars was produced or still on the developing is 9 unique laser systems, which is at the edge of technology and scientific. And 3 of that lasers was built by French companies. 2 of them from United States, 1 from Germany, 1 from Great Britain, and 2 of them is from Lithuania. Expla with partners supplying to 2 unique laser systems. So it's an example which shows our Lithuanian capabilities and as well as Expla.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just representing more traditional industry. I'm furniture producers and representing company Freda, which is 127 years old. Of course, not all the time the machine stands like we have today. And yeah, how big we are, we're producing over the year 7.5 million pieces of flat pack furniture. So we have 7.5 million customers, And yeah, small part goes to France, same. What does it mean, furniture industry in Lithuania? I can tell that totally the sales is 1.5 billion from biggest Lithuanian furniture producers, goes to the export, so it's significant impact into GDP. And yeah, over these years we collect some know-how which is allow us to be very competitive in the market. Everybody can buy the lines, the machines, and the biggest deal is, let's say, to operate them properly, fast, cost-effective, and smart. That is, gives us this know-how, which is over the years was collecting in our company and completely in Lithuania, allow us to be very, very competitive in the furniture industry market. I strongly believe that is the best place to produce furniture is Lithuania.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Julius. I come from Teltonika company group, and I'm really glad to stand together with leading companies from France and Lithuania as well. And I personally believe that the best approach to introduce the Teltonika IoT group is to go through the examples. And generally speaking, we are making Internet of Things. We're making more than 10 million devices connected to the Internet at this moment. We are producing our products in 4 main niches that joins together actually into the modern manufacturing facility, which is pretty close, like 9 kilometers away from here. And first product niche is actually standing for telematics, or basically we can describe it as a track and trace solutions. So if you have a fleet and you would like to monitor it or check it where it is, make some kind of condition actions. So this is one of our parts what we are making, and I could proudly say that right now we are number 3 in Europe by making those products. As well as the next sector or business niche what we are making, we are producing the professional networking devices. And those devices are solutions for industries where you need to have a reliable and good connection and easy to deploy. The third part of our activity is basically related to the situation, what's going on in the cities at this moment. If you're going around the streets, you probably see that there are many e-scooters just drop down in the streets. So we are making hardware that can help to make this sharing services to the companies. And the last basically topic is really related to the pandemic situation. And personally believe that most of you face some issues in this moment, and but probably you can also get it as an opportunity. And from our side, what we made in those past 6 months, we start developing the artificial lung ventilators, the professional ones. So we joined the group. Right now we are 100 employees, a huge experienced team that are right now making the artificial lung ventilators. And I could probably say that we are on a certification stage right now. And soon you will see quite an interesting project from a medicine from Teltonika. So in the back end, what can I say? We have more than 10 million devices connected, and all those projects are made in Lithuania. Thank you.
Thank you very much for introducing your companies. And as I mentioned already in the beginning, we have a very widespread of technologies over here in our panel. We have from the lasers, Internet of Things, electric distribution, furniture and textile. And I would say that I see engineering industry as the industry which is connecting all other manufacturing industries. Because none of the company can produce anything without the engineers. You always need to start with the engineering solution. You always have to start with the engineering decision, and then it comes the machinery, the internet, IT, and so on. As I studied also that our export from Lithuania to France is really low, it's just 3%. The import from France is 400 million euros in the engineering industry. But what is very important to stress that 50% of all the imports goes to the automotive. So it means that the vehicle import is 50% of all the engineering industry import. What gives us just 200 million euros to all other engineering industries. So that's, on my opinion, is quite low as well. And my question is to the panelists, what experience do they have and why, what is their opinion, why the trade between the Lithuania and France is on such low figures today, which, on my opinion, can be at least 10 times bigger, both sides. So I would ask the French side to start. What is your opinion why this trade is so low up to now? Please.
I think it's because we don't know. We have to take time. First, at the very beginning, 30 years ago, Lithuania was changing very much, and we didn't know much about your assets. And now that we are equal, and even now that you are forward in some field, we can build a stable collaboration all together, and we can move on in a new dynamic where we can all now build new bridges between our technologies and know-how, and that is why we should promote some more events such as this one today. So we would be even more aware in France of all the capacities that we can build together and maybe think more in a more European mindset. And when we think about industry in France, we know that we have an urge to reindustrialize in France, but we have also a solution here. And that is what we should have in mind and what we should work on from now.
And can I make it sure that you think that the low trade is because we don't know each other?
I think, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, please.
I share that we have to make some efforts to know better each other, and perhaps also to find a new way to work together. For example, in the field of dismantling, as I said, we have the common interest. We have the same kind of reactor to dismantle, and I'm convinced that we have to develop a common solution to find a way to work together in partnership to propose a common solution and share risk and share our knowledge. That's why for a few years now we begin to work with Lithuanian companies to imagine some kind of solution to work on common development. And for example, we are going to work in the next month in a common European project to develop solution for dismantling with a remote tool, artificial intelligence solution to have a very innovative solution both for France and for Lithuania.
But I will a little bit, sorry, maybe I will provoke a little bit, but we are dismantling the nuclear power station for more than 10 years already. So why this hasn't happened yet up to now?
We have done a lot of work in France and in Lithuania too, but now we are going to dismantle the core of the reactor, and you have to have in mind that graphite reactors are very complex, very big size, very compact design, and we need to imagine new solutions for that, and digital solution, remote tools, robotic give us a lot of opportunity to find a new way to dismantle.
Okay, because with the nuclear power, I was just starting my career as the export from the engineering industry, and in maybe 2000, I would say 8 something, or maybe 7. The France was really active in Lithuania, working with Areva Technologies, when we had still an idea to build the new reactor. So France was really active, and we could see that everywhere is France. It was the embassy was participating in different units and so on. And then when the decision was done that Lithuania will not build the new nuclear power station, then the French interest was minimized. But what I hear from you is that there could be an active cooperation also in the dismantling phase. So I believe there is some business portion that we are not putting enough efforts on working together, on both sides, I believe.
Yeah, as I said, I think for nuclear industry, a big challenge is to be present on the whole life cycle of nuclear plant, new build, production, and dismantling. It's a condition of success for nuclear industry. And I think there is a lot of opportunities to work together on the free fruits of this development for nuclear industry.
Thank you. So, what is your
so, I'm representing a French company, but I'm not French. I'm Swedish, and I'm sort of looking at this, I can say, maybe from a neutral corner. Swedes are always neutral. But I really feed into what's been said here, that there is if you want to do business, you need to know each other. And there hasn't been, the knowledge from France, from Sweden, from many other countries about what you guys are doing here isn't really up to standard. I think there is a picture in our back of my minds about, well, the old days, unfortunately. And this sticks. And if you don't have much business ongoing, recurring, you're visiting and so on, this picture sticks in the back of your mind. And so this initiative here is very good, I think.
That I would maybe to add a little bit when you are saying that you are from Sweden. So we used to have also some automotive discussion with Sweden, and that was approximately 7-8 years ago. The first automotive business mission to Lithuania from Sweden was in 2002. And when we started to discuss with the automotive industry in 2014, most of the Swedes, they were thinking that we are still maybe 1 year ahead from 2002, but we are in the some same stage. And the breakthrough was one business mission, and by visiting 7 companies in Lithuania, and seeing that what was in 2002, that was close to the Soviet Union business, and in 2015 that is in some extent even more automatized or internet capable business than it is in other countries in Europe. So this knowledge point of view is very big, but unfortunately we have the health situation today, so we are not able to organize so much visits. But I believe that one-time seeing is much better than a lot of talkings about. So I would like to ask now the Lithuanian part. Why you think that the business with France is quite low today?
Yeah, I would say it in different way. Baltic Sea is quite cold, not very clean, and Mediterranean Sea is quite clean and more interesting to stay there. And as we are participating in a lot of Horizon programs and projects, and we see what for French people is more, for French in general, is more interesting what is going around Mediterranean Sea, and not so interesting what is going on in Far Eastern Europe, near we called Baltic Sea. So actually for Lithuanians, as well as more interesting Mediterranean Sea as well, because it's warmer, but we do not have quite good enough relations between us.
As I already said, that we already some articles in French market, but not enough. And for cooperation, I think is company need history. In order to step into the market, you should push somebody from the market or a bit to the side of the market, because market is occupied. There's no empty space in the markets, and in order to do that, you should have history, which is should be not a local history like Lithuanian company, but it should be worldwide history, which is actually like our country is quite young, and the company history is even shorter compared to the country age. So I'm quite happy that we are creating good history about our company, but it takes big efforts and time. Time. That is explanation. In order to trust each other. Thank you.
I personally believe that there are two ways why it happened like this at the moment. Maybe it sounds dramatically, but I think that we spend at least 1 hour in a social media at this moment. And there are many information about your competitors and what's going on in the market. And it's pretty hard to filter what is exactly useful for you. And I mean, in this case, it's really hard to find the correct information because, you know, there are many approaches of doing some business with others, but usually they are not working even in those sectors, and they are representing something, and usually it's not working. And in this case, sometimes the decision makers are a little bit afraid of involve new companies to start business with. And from another point of perspective, I had a really good discussion with HR manager, and we also have people from France who are working in our company. And you know what they say? That we have to get in better contact because the difference of a culture is really changing our understanding, and events like this probably will help because we will find much common points and we can discuss and change our minds because culture is really important, and I believe the European Union and such a business events will help in this case, but we need more.
Yeah, but I can say that it's something similar what Kęstutis said, is that we are from the north and France is from the south, if we compare these two countries. So there should be cultural difference, absolutely, because we are representing the different areas of climate even. So my last question, just to finalize the panel, because I think we are running out of time, but what steps, let's say 1 or 2 steps, do you see how to proceed with this good discussion? Let's say we have a very nice startup point. We have the French president's visit to Lithuania, but then somehow we should continue this nice startup in order that we can all benefit out of that. So what is your ideas?
For our part, we are a French startup, and maybe we should have some program of cooperation, and we should have a list of startups that we could find here with their specificities, so we could maybe grow stronger together. That could be a big help, because as a startup, we don't have much mean at start, and working together alongside the way would be a great help for both of us.
As I said, next step, very close next step, is a European project that we are going to do with Lithuanian partners. We built a collaborative center to develop and to qualify remote tools for dismantling with a team which comprise Lithuanian, English, French and Italian people. it's a way to develop some common technologies. And I hope we can have a real project works on the Ignalina works in the next years.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
From Sigfox, I would say that, well, we have the network here now in Lithuania, and so the stage is set to start connecting things using our technology here. So that's basically one of the pillars to get going. Entering into, let's see, a cooperation and using our technology will open up a lot of opportunities, not only in France, but in many other countries. But it's all, as we were touching here in several ways, that it's sort of, we need to understand and know each other from several aspects. And yeah, we are the new kids on the block as regards connectivity, and you need to understand why should you use Sigfox. And I think we have quite unique things to offer as an alternative to traditional connectivity. This, in its second step then, could boost companies reaching new markets, reaching new customers. I want to add one thing in a general context here, is that I was thinking to myself when I was traveling here, okay, how much do I know about Lithuanian companies? I have been in contact with some companies. I've been in contact with Teltonika, for instance, and some of your colleagues and so on. But in all honesty, is there a Renault or a Volvo, as I'm Swedish or so? And I'm sorry, I couldn't really find that one. And that would be, as I see it, getting this lighthouse company. It doesn't have to be very big, but with some kind of, hey, we know Lithuania because you have this company doing this thing here. That would be, I would think that would be a great help to sort of put you on the map.
Perfect. So I suppose that that is the work which has to be done by us as association, or by Confederation of Industrialists, or by Enterprise Lithuania, that we have to put up those lighthouses and to show you where is the breakthrough. So that's more or less a homework for us to be done, and to present that more for you. Yes, please. What steps do you see? How we can?
Actually, I agree with colleagues that we need to communicate. We need to know each other. But yes, Lithuania do not have worldwide worldwide known trade names, and to say Lithuania, most businesses are small, medium enterprises, and maybe they are known in some niches, in some particular niches where they're working on, but not known in wider ranges. So we need to communicate more and more and more. And French embassy in Lithuania is active, but it's active in cultural field, but not in technology, in science, communication, in that field. So, as well as Lithuanian embassy in French should be more active in this field as well. So we need to know each other more and more. So it's the only way.
But Kęstutis, I can say that we are on the very good move today, because my wife is the Vice Minister of Culture, and today in the morning I said I am going to have a meeting with the friends. And I asked her, are you having, because, you know, we are working in the cultural sector, and she said, no, we don't have anything. So, let's say, not so deep. Something they have, but not so deep. So, I think that we are on the very good move to move not just in culture, but to move also in the business. So, that's maybe a good start to develop the business cooperation as well.
Hopefully next visit of President of France with so big business delegation will be not after next 20 years, maybe after a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Sorry. You know, sometimes it's much more easy to produce than sell products, and we should put maybe much more effort to prove our product sustainability, to prove our product durability, to improve our product quality, and the customer will come, I'm sure. That just needs some time more.
One step has to be done before, actually homework. So we did our homework, and I believe that the next step will be get in touch with Peter to talk more about Sigfox. And we have some common points, and our team is ready to discuss, so I believe we'll get a good discussion later.
Okay, so thank you, the panelists, and I can say that today is the breakthrough for at least engineering industry cooperation development, which was not here for the last 30 years, but as far as I remember, I don't know, maybe from the ministries they remember more, but as far as I remember from the business, this is the first really big president's visit to Lithuania over the last 30 years with really topic of the business development. So I suppose that when we meet in the next 5 years, we can say that we have tripled what we have today. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Dear moderator and dear panelists, thank you very much for such an insightful discussion. And of course, we cannot change temperature of our sea, but during this event, we can get more acquainted with cultural differences and to know each other's assets more. And I'm very happy to announce that for this forum and for the B2B meetings, which will gonna be later after lunch, there are registered 35 Lithuanian companies. As well, we are waiting for over 30 French companies. And this could not be happened without help and input of our special partner for this event. And this is a very famous organization, MEDEF International. So I am very glad to ask now I'm very happy to invite now Ms. Géraldine Lemblé, a Deputy CEO at MEDEF International, to make a keynote speech. Ms. Géraldine, please.
Labas rytas, ponios ir panai, man labai malonu būti čia su jumis. I'm very happy to be here today, and it's a great emotion actually to be part of these discussions live for the first time for a while now. I would like to address special thanks to Mr. Simonas Krėpšta. I'm not sure whether he's still in the room, and through him to the Embassy of Lithuania for their invitation to Vilnius today. I'd like as well to thank Mr. Janulevičius, the President of the Lithuanian Confederation of Industrialists, and to greet the head of the French Regional Economic Section, Mr. Letalek. And thank as well, of course, the representative of Enterprise Lithuania for hosting us and for this very promising business session today. And my last greeting is for the EBRD, which is our long-run partner in this region. So, dear French and Lithuanian participants, I would like to express, to say a few words maybe about MEDEF International. I will be short because we have still a session after this. Just to remind that definitely MEDEF is the first French private network, and MEDEF International is the first French private business network at an international level, and we are fully committed to bring closer French companies and their foreign counterparts around the world, and today especially in Lithuania in the context of the President Macron's visit to Vilnius. So we are really dedicated to supporting French companies' international development and to foster long-term, inclusive and sustainable cooperation and partnerships. In June, during a virtual meeting then with Mrs. Ekaterina Rojaka, the Deputy Minister of the Economy and Innovation of Lithuania, we told her how impressed we were with the Lithuanian economy's robustness and overall performances in the context of the pandemic. We know that Lithuania is a dynamic, open and innovation-oriented economy with a strong spirit of entrepreneurship, with an ideal location close to large markets and enjoying a good connectivity thanks to its high-quality infrastructure. So we do know Lithuania at MEDEF International. As a business association born 30 years ago, roughly at the same time when Lithuania recovered its independence, we could witness how successful and appealing for business your country has become. It ranked in the world's top 10 doing business according to the World Bank, as you reminded. You are a member of the OECD, totally integrated in the EU market since your accession 15 years ago. And in a rapidly changing world, where skills and innovation capability drive the value creation, where the race against climate change and for an affordable greener energy have started, where data are to protect a large number of threats, French and Lithuania have a lot to exchange about, to consider together in terms of businesses. Be it in the field of mastering the energy transition, of building greener cities, on more efficient infrastructures, or hastening the potential of the data. I mentioned these three fields on purpose, since they are three of our key orientations at MEDEF International. For example, we developed a sustainable city task force a few years ago, aiming at gathering all the value chains of the French urban expertise with very innovative, inclusive and green solutions in order to answer the tremendous needs around the world. We do believe that the European private sector is the most relevant to tackle the climate challenges, answer the needs of the consumers and citizens in a sustainable way. The business session that follows will give companies a privileged occasion to showcase their know-how and solutions, to share a bit of their rich and valued experience in that field. I trust new investments and cooperation will emerge in the upcoming days and months. We shall seize the opportunities of this challenging time to strengthen our ties at all levels, especially in the economic field. On behalf of MEDEF International, I want once again to thank our companies for their mobilization today, and also thank the French and the Lithuanian embassies for the excellent support we received to prepare this visit. Thank you, Labai Aichu, and vive l'Europe.
Thank you, Ms. Lemblé, for an inspiring speech. And both our countries are European mindset countries, and both our countries think that climate change matters. And both our business communities are focused now on sustainability issues. So I would like to invite now the participants for our second panel today, the sustainability panel, here on the stage. And first of all, I would like to introduce you the moderator of our second panel, Mr. Bertrand Letelec, a French chief for the economic service of the Baltic states. Mr. Letelec, please get on stage. Our panelists today are the representatives from the French companies, Ms. Aušra Ignotaitė, a managing director of IDEX Baltics, Mr. Anthony Paulet, the business developer from PHB Group, Ms. Anna Samsonova, a commercial director of LOHR Industries, Ms. Anna, yes, as well as Lithuanian companies representatives, Mr. Mindaugas Ambrosas, a chief financial officer from Auga Group, Mr. Christian Kas Mortensen, a Director of Strategic Partnerships at Girteka, and Mr. Julius Sakalauskas as CEO at Solitech. Thank you. Mr. Telek, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's a real pleasure to be here today. So I just arrived, you told that, in Riga 4 weeks ago. So I'm in charge of all Baltic countries. And I'm based in Riga, but we have a beautiful team here who support very good this event. We worked a lot in collaboration with the Lithuanian embassy in Paris and MEDEF and many organizations, and it's a real successful event till now. Thanks a lot. And I'm traveling a lot in the region, and I came already 2 times here, and I will come, I think, really often. So we have a very important panel now, sustainability. So we are speaking about our future, our quality of life. And everybody knows that climate change is a reality, became a reality, and we need to act towards a new sustainable economy now. So many of them are living in Lithuania, and you know that September was quite a strange, warm month here in your country. And if we don't have a winter in Lithuania, where can we have a winter? So there is a dramatic change in the climate today, and we need to act. And this panel, I hope, will open a very big discussion. At EU level, already many plans and many projects are on the way. We will try to reduce our emission of 55% till 2030. It's a very optimistic goal, but we will try to work together, maybe Lithuania and France, to achieve that. Already, Lithuania did a great job in renewable energy. 30% of your energy capacity is renewable today. And in France, we are pushing a lot. We spoke about nuclear energy, but we are pushing in wind energy, photovoltaic energy, and many things. So I think we can find, as Mrs. de Roche said before, we can work together in energy sector. So our panel gathers today 6 very famous and important companies. Why famous and important? Because they are working already in both countries. So I think it will be really interesting to hear them and to know how they began and how they developed and why they can succeed in Lithuania for the French companies and in French for the Lithuanian company. Because we spoke already in the first panel, we need to know each other better. The visit of the President Macron was a really good opportunity to make a first level, but only a first level. We have to continue and to capitalize about this meeting. So I will give a very shortly presentation of all the companies that are around the table. We have transportation company and logistic companies like Girteka, a very important company with 14,000 drivers, and it's the first company in Europe, and she is active already in France. We have the French company L'Or, who is also very active in intermodal transport, road and train, and many public urban transportation too. So it will be really interesting to compare and maybe to see how we can have a partnership in this topic. And we have also Companies active in textile industry, like PHB, active in Lithuania for a while, and an agro industry company, Auga, a very big one, the biggest from Lithuania, with 40,000 hectares already in culture. And also a very innovative company, Solitech, who developed solar panels, and maybe they will sell it in France now or in the future. And last but not least, Mrs. Ignotaite of the company IDEX Baltic, which is a renewable energy company, heating company, the largest independent heating company here in Lithuania. So I give you the floor to begin. You're welcome.
Thank you. Good day. Yes, my name is Osha and I represent IDEX Baltic, which is a subsidiary of IDEX in France. IDEX here in Lithuania came in 2019 through an acquisition of a previously joint venture between Lithuanian and German company. And IDEX Baltic, as it was said, currently is the largest renewable heat producer here in Lithuania in two largest cities. In Vilnius, we have about 30% of the market, and in Kaunas, where we also have about 30% of the market. IDEX Baltic in Lithuania developed its infrastructure and its production capacities within the last 10 years, and now with IDEX here in Lithuania, we are looking to grow the company further by investing in and providing energy solutions to the industry, and also further developing our further sharing our services and understanding into the central heating district. IDEX in France is a more developed and more forward company to what we have here. They are offering heat and cooling services back in France across almost 40 cities. In the nature of service provision and the nature of product here and in France is different. Here we only operate on the energy generation level, so we produce the heat and we supply it to the municipality district heating companies, whereas in France, IDEX are looking to also employ investments in the cooling sector of the district heating, and to also enter into industrial market where we could offer services to large manufacturing companies which requires heat and electricity capacities for their own functioning.
Thanks a lot. I will give the floor now to Mr. Julius Saka Lauskas in the same domain, energy in solar panels. Here you are.
Yeah, good morning everyone. My name is Julius. I represent Lithuanian company Solitech. We are producers and installers of the solar panels. Our company is vertically integrated, starting from the R&D in Horizon projects to the production and installation of the solar panels. What we do differently compared to biggest manufacturers in the world, we really see into the solar as a sustainable product. Starting with the zero CO2 emission production to the recyclability of our products up to 98%. Moreover, we keep our quality of the products in such level that it could work not 10 years as most of the panels do, but up to 50 years. We believe that solar power can be sustainable only when working very long term. So this is what we do, and talking about France, unfortunately this is not our biggest export market. We, as Nordic country, we export more into Scandinavia, but France is really a good business partner, and we really just want to expand into that market.
Thanks a lot. Mr. Christian Kaus-Mortensen from Géraldine company. So I told that before, a huge truck company, digital truck company, who developed a lot in intermodal activities.
Thank you very much, Bertrand. So we actually do a lot of business in France. Imagine big companies like Carrefour, Schneider Electric, Danone, L'Oreal, Lactalis, Michelin, Sanofi Pharmaceuticals. These are all big customers of Géraldine Logistics. And what do we do? A lot of these big customers, they have manufacturing or production in one place and then consumption in the other end. So that movement from factories to families is what we are doing on our 7,500 trucks. And today we are talking about sustainability. So what does a truck do when it drives on the road? It pollutes. Diesel engine pollution, it's not very good. But if we don't do it, all of us will be hungry. So we have to do this transportation in the most sustainable way. From 2015 till 2000, we have invested more than 600 million euros in brand new environmentally friendly trucks. And we continue to do things like this. Our big multinational customers themselves have to reduce their CO2 emissions. And the supply chain and the transportation often is the biggest pollutant in a FMCG or pharmaceutical company. So it's really important that we are doing everything we can to support them. And that means also, for example, to stop transporting our trucks and trailers on the road, but instead of the trailer behind the truck, we put the trailer on a train. And we do that a lot, and most often on a French train with SNCF. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Mrs. Anna Samsonova from a law company, you are commercial director. And it will be very interesting for us to have your view about intermodal and public transportation.
Thank you very much. Hello to everybody. I'm really happy to be here in Vilnius. It's, the trip to Vilnius, it was something like to go to Mars. Some preparation, some consultation via mails. Did you do your tests before 72 hours or later on? It's a normal trip to Vilnius, 2 hours. It's something like difficult situation for me now, but I'm happy to be here and happy to see you here, everybody in life, not online. Thank you very much to Géraldine to be here. It's also our partner in France on 6th line for created with LoRa railway technology now. Just I would like to tell you several words about LoRa industry. We are a French company close to Strasbourg, and we are present in Lithuania since more than 20 years now. We sold our first car carrier trailer here more than 20 years. And since we sold already something around 3,000 semi-trailers to transport car here in Lithuania. It's really true that we don't know each other very well, but to do business here in Lithuania, it's necessary to come several times, to become a friend of your partner, not too afraid to drink a vodka sometimes, but I would like to tell you that with minus 27 in February, it could help. And our car carrier business is a really successful story here in Lithuania. Now we are working on the project of the creation of the intermodal terminal in Kaunas, the terminal which will allow to semi-trailers not to go by the road, but go by the rail. We are trying to work with the railway, National Railway Company, with Ministry of Transportation, and also with the private companies like Géraldine, Blantana, and others, which are really known in Europe as the transportation companies. So what I would like to tell about sustainability. I think it's really necessary to be more close to each other, to create a real trust and to try to work together, not for one business, but for the long time. Thank you very much. If you have a question, please don't hesitate to ask me.
Thank you, Anna. Mr. Mindaugas Ambrasas from Auga company, you are the Chief Financial Officer, and your company is a huge agricultural company, and you have a very specific sustainable agribusiness. Can you tell more about that?
Yes, so good morning everyone. I will try to tell briefly about Auga Group. So what is Auga Group today? Today we are the largest organic food producer in Europe. We cultivate almost 40,000 hectares of arable land. We have almost more than 1.2 thousand employees. We work in 4 business segments. So it's crop growing, dairy, mushroom growing, and FMCG production. We export really majority of our production, and you could find Auga brand products or products made from our goods all over the world, from United States to Japan and Australia. So I think we already proving that organic way of farming could be as efficient as a conventional one. From business side, we are a Lithuanian company. We are listed company, having, for example, BRD as one of our minor investors and shareholders. But that's what Auga Group is today. I think it's also very important what we want to do in the nearest future, because this year we announced our strategy for upcoming 10 years. And we really explained and showed what we want to achieve in those upcoming 10 years. So by 2030, we want to become the company, and it's not only a wish. We are already working on new technologies, which will allow us by 2030 be agricultural company which will produce food without any cost to nature. What does that mean? As you may know, agriculture together with deforestation is accounts for almost, I think, 23% of CO2 emission in the world. So it's the largest polluter, you could say. So we are working on technologies which will allow us as a company or the group will be CO2 neutral in 10 years. So I think this is quite important, and why we're doing this. Of course, we can talk about some politics, strategy of EU. Saving the world could be also a good reason to do that, but as a financial person I would say that it's also really good business case behind that. Because what we see from our customers, from all the researchers, that sustainability is really becoming the most important factor for consumers when they are choosing which product they want to buy. So knowing that they can buy food which is not only produced organically, but also produced in sustainable way without any cost to nature, I think really gives us a huge belief that we will be very successful.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I would like to stress too that we have a very big French investment in the agro sector here in Lithuania with Rocket Amilina. And later on, if the representative want to say a short testimony, they are welcome. So now we will go to another topic, textile industry. It could be a very polluting industry in many countries in the world. And you have already seen in panel 1 with Audrey Laure from Eureka, that we could spare products and clothes with a very good technology, with a new mannequin, a robotic mannequin, That's a very good point. And now, Anthony Poulain will tell us how his company, PHB, that is located in Lithuania for a while, is acting here in Lithuania and in many countries.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Anthony Poulain. I live in Lithuania for 13 years and I work at PHB Group. PHB Group is a high-end and luxury garment manufacturer. So it means that we produce part of the clothes that every day you are wearing. Shirts, trousers, outerwear. And as Christian was saying, he's transporting everything from the business to the house. And we produce what you at some point are buying and wearing. The garment industry is considered as the second largest polluting industry in the world, and we want also at PHB to do what we have to do to tackle it. For already a few years, we've been integrating sustainability processes in our day-to-day management in order to lower the carbon impact by grouping all the raw materials that we have to import to the manufacturing units. We also discuss with the designers in order to present to them some sustainable options like recycled fibers, like organic cottons, and so on in order to lower our impact. When we speak about sustainability, everyone is more or less looking at the environment part. I would like to stress the fact that sustainability has to be considered as a 50-50 deal between the planet and peoples. When we speak about sustainability, we have to take into account the ecological aspect, but also the economic that is affected. And not taking care enough of the nature is having an impact on the economy. Also, the social well-being, what we see with the climate change, is affecting the population, is affecting the way we can grow some of the raw material, and everything is also linked as a fourth pillar to the cultural aspect. If we don't change the way we think about the environment, the way we have to dress, let's say, we will keep generating the same output in terms of climate impact. The United Nations developed 17 points that are speaking about the sustainability, which is about the poverty, about the fair wages, about the equality, about the land use, the water use, the life on land, the life underwater, and so on. At PHB, we try to at least tackle a few of these items. The poverty. We make sure that every single employee in the factories that we are dealing with is getting the proper wage by organizing audits. We also make sure that there is the respect of the gender equality. We also make sure that water and sanitization are properly set up in each of the factory, and that the amount that is paid to the factory can sustain it and allow an organic growth. We also optimize the logistics by using the new technologies, by entering into the system of the clients in order to make everything efficient. Regarding the production of the product, as I mentioned earlier, we want to apply the newest and the fairest to the nature product. We also discuss with companies like EVK or with Gerber in order to optimize the designing process, allowing it to produce less samples that goes before the production, and so that we can also tackle our impact here. To conclude, I would say that sustainability to me and to PHB Group people, it's all about also education. in the garment industry, we start at the designer level. They have to integrate the sustainability in their process. Then the purchasing manager have to take it into account in the cost of revenue that will be established. Suppliers, manufacturers, and logisticians have also to integrate such practice. At the end, it all relies on us. Bertrand, me, you. Because each time you go to a shop to buy an item, each time you go on internet to buy an item, you have to take into consideration what it's made of, who made it, in which condition it was made, and once you've been wearing it enough, and once you want to consider throwing it away, you have also to think of the way to dispose of it. Companies like Vinted are making it possible to not throw away, but to pass it to another client. There is also different companies in the garment industry that are now willing to recycle all the fibers, so you are free to go to most of the brands now and to give back your item so that it will enter again in a new cycle of production. So just to conclude, sustainability, it's education and practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. As you see, we need to cooperate more, but we cooperate already. We have partnerships in both countries. And if we want to increase our relationship, we need to have a very good logistic and a very sustainable one with a very low carbon footprint. Mrs. Samsonova, can you tell us more about your projects and maybe the Kaunas intermodal project, please?
There is a really big problem, the lack of infrastructure of 1425 railway gauge here in Lithuania. Very soon, Kaunas will be connected with this infrastructure, I mean with European railway network, because today it is only 2050 Russian gauge, which is existing here in Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. You know about, probably know, I'm pretty sure that you know about the project Rail Baltica name is, which is the biggest European railway project for the moment. And Kaunas terminal is a part of this project. So it will be first terminal in Baltic country connected to European railway network. Our system, which is already in operation in different terminal in different countries in Europe, will allow to put on the rail all those symmetrials you see on the border between Lithuania and Poland and then in Europe. Gerteka is using already our system between Luxembourg and Perpignan, and I know from Gerteka personally that they would like to have a terminal in Kaunas, to go from Kaunas directly to Spain.
I've been to Luxembourg terminals several times. It's fantastic.
So the project of terminal in Kaunas will help to logistics to become more green.
It's really important. Mr. Mortensen, if you want to add something.
Sure. Yeah, I can confirm that the terminal in Luxembourg is outstanding in terms of creating intermodal solutions. I was actually there for the opening. And in the first panel, our Swedish friend said that Lithuania is not very well known and we need to have some locomotives of industrial companies. My personal dream is that what IKEA is for Sweden, Gerteka should be for Lithuania. And one such, say, feeling whether we are in the right direction or not is when it comes to intermodal transportation. 2 years ago, the French national rail company SNCF was opening a new rail line from Calais to Italy, and the first trailer, semi-trailer to be put on that train was actually a Gerteka trailer, and this was with the French Minister of Transport standing next to the trailer, and I was also there. So intermodal transportation is the way forward for trucking. actually.
What is important to add, probably that the market of European semi-trailers is something like 4% for the craneable semi-trailers, which could be loaded with a crane or reach takers, and the biggest amount of semi-trailers are non-craneable, so they could not be put on the rail with a crane or another reach taker, for example. Here in Lithuania, we have something 100% of non-craneable semi-trailers. If there is no our system, they cannot go to the rail, because our system is developed to transport non-craneable semi-trailer, to put it to load to the rail on horizontal way.
Yeah, and thanks a lot for this further information. Now about energy. So many French companies have invested here in Lithuania. You know, Veolia, Mrs. Genduri, Deputy Country Manager, is here in the room, I think. And IDEX, the big company too. How are you managing to reduce your carbon footprint in your projects?
So our energy production for heat is 100% renewable. Our core source of energy is biomass. Energy from biomass in Lithuania is a very strong point and a very strong idea, because Lithuania has 30% of its land covered with forests, and with together with the timber industry and panel board industry and energy demands, we are able to be on par with the increment level of biomass that is being built, that is growing in Lithuania. So the industry and the energy is able to use the local biomass in a sustainable way. We believe that going forward, the heat generation sector and the district heating will have to move to new technologies, that the shift will still happen to the fourth generation by removing some amount of biomass and introducing technologies like solar, like heat pumps. They will be accessing the sector, and they will be contributing to the level of needs. But overall, our role is to understand that the district heating systems will be changing, and they will be changing because we still have a lot of energy losses in the district, that there will be more and more investments happening in the suburbia and in the suburbs to make sure that the installations are at the high level. So we are looking to see decreases in energy use in the district heating. And so through the investments by district heating companies, we understand that our capacities will be used not only for heat and also for cooling. And currently the biomass is producing almost 90% of heat here in Lithuania. And going forward, even though the demands of heat will be rising through the new developments, at the same time, the savings of heat in older buildings will be reducing in cements. Heat pumps are coming into the market. The ability to use heat from data centers, from the water piping, will be also introduced in the district. And our role is to maintain our renewability in our production, and to contribute with our capex investments in the district heating to utilize these new technologies.
Thanks a lot. Julius, you may have new partners maybe, and maybe a question. How can you be competitive in such a very difficult market, solar panels, because the worldwide competition is incredibly aggressive, and maybe you have the key.
Yeah, for us it is really tough competition. In Europe there is not a lot of manufacturers left. Like I said before, what we do different is we see very long term. and top quality products, and we go into niche markets like building integrated solutions, where the solar panel is not only a panel, but it's a part of the building of the roof or its facade. So integrated solutions is one of our direction. Also, we can compete in big solar parks as well, with some different technologies to install the solar panels with newest technology of bifacial, plus tracking solutions where it can generate up to 40% more electricity and cover like morning and evening peaks for when the electricity price in the market is highest. And added to Ms. Ausha, we already have in Lithuania, we are finishing now one solutions in Utena city, where we are installing solar power plant connected with heat pumps for the district heating of the Utena city. And this is just a small pilot project to show how it can work. From our experience in our production building from 2013, we have very good experience combining solar power with heating and cooling of the building by using geothermal energy. So it pays back really quickly, much faster than we thought. And it's really good solutions for the Europe to go forward, Lithuania and France as well.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Mindaugas, your company is also active in green bond emissions, I've heard. Can you tell us more about that? How it was organized and what was the motivation?
Okay, sorry. Yes, I think we are among few companies in the Baltic states, private companies which issued bonds, and specifically it was green bonds. It was 20 million euros fully subscribed last year and fully finalized last year. I think why we wanted to do this, we really wanted to make maybe the first step and to see how the process works, what could be investors, because we really see the huge possibility for agricultural industry and for the AUGA group as in this area. Because right now in the world we have lots of funds which seeks possibility to invest. And if the projects are related to sustainability, there is always huge demand for such a projects. And we see that though agriculture is really important and big polluter, as I mentioned, it's almost the largest polluter in the world in terms of CO2 emissions, only very small part of financing comes to this industry just because the industry is really fragmented. Companies which are in the industry are quite small. You know, you can't imagine farmer going to international markets and issuing green bonds to get this funding, which is really there, just we need to take it. So if there is a company as AUGA Group, which has the size, which has experience, which has a story to tell for those investors what we want to do and achieve, I think this first bond emission was really the first step allowing not only us, but those farmers who will want to use technologies we are creating to use them in the future. This will be the way for them to get this financing, which we all, of course, need.
Thanks a lot. Anthony, can you tell us how you are managing the 3 factories that you have here in Lithuania to adapt their production to reduce their pollution and carbon footprint?
So, in Lithuania, we are working with quite a lot of factories. We also work with factories in Romania, in Belarus. We also work in India, in Vietnam, and in Thailand. Following the processes for all of these factories would have to require a lot of travel and used to require a lot of travel. What we've been learning through the COVID-19 crisis is that if we are next to the wall, we finally see the wall, and everyone has to comply using new technologies. Some of the recent investment we made last year have been turned into a sustainable factory in Krishnagiri in India, where all the electricity, all the energy is produced through solar panel and other renewable technologies. We put in the specification that we have to each factory some requirements in terms of improvement, so that gradually they can become more and more sustainable, because not only it's a requirement from us, it's also a requirement from our customers. More and more we have also to integrate all these new raw materials that are organic, that are recycled, and that's how we step by step are pushing in this direction.
Thank you, Anthony. I think we are on time. If you have any questions, I think we have 4 or 5 minutes left. A testimony or question?
Thank you. I have a question for the logistic companies. What do you think, how long it would take that over 50% of all the goods would be delivered via the intermodal? It will be 5, 3, or 7 years?
It's brilliant questions. It seems that investments into rail infrastructure is something that takes a long time. I only live in Lithuania for 15 years, but for those 15 years, all I heard was Rail Baltica this, Rail Baltica that. We're still not seeing Rail Baltica anywhere, so that's how it is all over Europe as well. You just don't put down new tracks around Europe because it's full of houses, families, and other things. And in general, the rail companies are state-owned enterprises, which most often are slow and inefficient. And when you buy a locomotive, it's for the next 20 or 30 years. As a commercial logistics operator, we can't wait for that. We need to move towards zero-emission trucks. We need to move fast. So I think 50%, it will take a long time, more than 3, 5, or 7 years for sure.
I think it could be done really quickly, but it's necessary sometimes to change the mentality of railway people, and not only political also, because we are presenting now the program of such kind of intermodal solution development on the European level, and we understand that it could be done with the less money that it was done before, with the creation of the vertical loading terminals, and up to 2030 we could put on the rail up to 50% of the transport.
So I think we are at the end. I would like to thank all the panelists for their testimony and for answering questions. And I give you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for a very interesting panel. And now our event is coming to an end, and for closing remarks I would like to invite Mr. Jan Brown, head of Baltics at EBRD. Mr. Jan.
Thank you very much. Since I'm standing between you and your lunch, I will be very brief. I'm sure you will all appreciate that. So I've been asked to give a few concluding remarks, and what do we draw from the extremely interesting discussions we've had today? Well, I think a couple of themes have emerged. One is holding this event and holding other events like this is extremely important in increasing the Lithuanian and French trade from the relatively low level that it is today. The other thing which I've heard is the importance of the green economy transition, which is a theme that's come throughout this panel which we've just heard, and one which is very important to the institution that I work for, which is the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. For those of you who don't know us, we are an international financial institution which is owned by 70 countries, including France and including Lithuania. And we invest in 36 countries, including Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. And for us, the green economy transition is at the heart of what we do. We have a new strategy which our Board of Governors will look at in 2 weeks. And that says that we aim to increase the share of the green economy in our total investment up to 50% by 2025. And last year, that means 50% of last year, we invested totally 10 billion euros of new investment, so that's a substantial sum of money. And last year, we managed 43% of our 10 billion was in the green economy space. So EBRD is active in Lithuania. EBRD provides a wide range of financing tools, debt, senior debt, junior debt, mezzanine, and we make equity investments in Lithuanian businesses, and we're here to support all inward investment where there is a financing gap which an international financial institution, a development bank such as ours, can make a contribution. So I'd like to say thank you very much for the organizers, for organizing this. I think this is an extremely valuable event, and I wish you all a very good lunch.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. And before inviting you to the lunch, I would like to express also my sincere thanks for all the partners who helped us to organize this event. So first of all, my big thank you goes to the President's Office, to the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs at the Republic of Lithuania, to the both embassies, the Embassy of France in Lithuania and the Embassy of Lithuania in France, for other industrial partners, MEDEF International and Lithuanian Confederation of Industrialists. Thank you very much. It could not be happen without all your efforts. Actually, it's probably such a big forum we are organizing after a long pause, and sorry for my little mistakes. I got unused to such events, and I'm very happy about that. And now I would like to remind you that our lunch is at the next hall, at the same floor here now. Then at 2 p.m. we are waiting for you here in the same place for the B2B meetings, because we are expecting 75 Lithuanian companies to come over for the B2B meetings. And the most important part, of course, it's a cocktail party. The cocktail party is planned for 7 p.m. here as well. I don't know if we ordered some vodka, probably no, but I'm sure that we will have some good French wine. Thank you very much.